My name is Amelia Mascioni from the Beautiful Mind Academy. Thank you for those of you who have been continuing to support this page. I see some comments that with people who are participating, thank you so much. For those of us who are new, who just recently found me, I'm Amelia. I am a BCBA. This YouTube channel is geared towards those who are studying the 5th edition task list and studying for the BCBA exam. We currently finished all of the task list B. We're now getting started on task list C. We also do one-to-one and group sessions that are very much individualized to the individuals or the group of people coming online. And what that means is you guys can let me know which items on that task list you are finding more challenging, and I customize PowerPoints just for you, and just very similarly to the way that I'm going to be presenting this presentation today is the way that the session goes, but feel free to provide some feedback and let me know how you learn, and I can customize your sessions according to your needs and your wants. If you are interested in those services, feel free to get in contact with me via email or phone number on the screen. If you want to look at a website, we are getting a redesign of the website, but for now you can look at our old website and see all of the other things that we offer. So getting started here, let's go through and we're going to be talking about direct, indirect, and product measures of behavior today. I would like to start with a breakdown of what these even are so you guys get a better idea. So when we look at direct measures, okay, think of the word direct. You're directly observing the behavior. And this means that you're going into these sessions and you are actually doing an observation and recording behavior in real time, okay? This type of measure relies on direct and objective observations of the behavior without interpretation, okay? So direct measure, in short, in simple terms, you are going in and watching the behavior, okay? Indirect measures relies on proxies or reports of the behavior, okay? So as you can see, we have now shifted from direct observation, which is real time, you going in and observing the behavior, to now more of relying on data or information obtained from other individuals. And these reports can come from parents, teachers, educational assistants. And when we look at the indirect measures, these can come from data as well, okay? So out of these two, okay, the most reliable type of measure is always going to be direct, okay? So although we have data, although we observe, we rely heavily on data, we still want to make sure that we're going in for those observations, right? And that's going to be the most accurate because this is, like I said, in real time. Product measures assesses the outcome or the results of the behavior rather than the behavior itself. So product measure involves evaluating the tangible result or products that occur as a result of the behavior, okay? So a product measure, for example, could be a worksheet that has been completed, right? Product measures are what happens afterwards. So another example could be if you are, let's say, a person who smokes cigarettes. A permanent product can be the number of cigarette butts in the ashtray that you can go in and count, okay? So think about that as after the behavior, this certain item left behind is what we are counting or measuring, okay? So let's do some quizzes. And like I said before, for those of you who are new to this channel, I do some quizzes with you guys. I elaborate on the answer, and then I do leave some just without me saying anything for you guys to comment on, okay? So question number 1. A behavior analyst is observing a child's tantrum behaviors in a classroom setting and records the number of times the child screams within a 10-minute period. What type of measurement style is taking place in this scenario? So the answers the choices would be direct, indirect, or is it a permanent product? Okay, you can also pause the videos as we do this. And I like to also test on fluency. So the faster these answers come out, and obviously if they're accurate, this is what our goal is. So during this time, you should be thinking about those answers rather quickly and coming up with the answers rather quickly. As we know, the exam is timed. You do have 4 hours, which seems like a lot of time, which it is a lot of time, but we still want to ensure that we're fluent and accurate in our answers, okay? So in this one, question number 1 is going to be a direct measure. The reason that it's going to be a direct measure is because this behavior analyst is going in real time and watching this child, okay? So as you see, the key word here is that they are actually observing the behavior and taking data. So because they are in this classroom, physically in the classroom, collecting data while this child is throwing a tantrum, we're gonna say that it is direct, okay? 2, a teacher reviews his learners' checklists where they were rating the level of attentiveness for each student in the classroom during a lecture. What type of measurement style is occurring in this scenario? Is it direct, indirect, or product measure? Some things that should be kind of being thrown at you, so to speak, is checklist, right? A checklist means that we're not actually observing the behavior, we're using something to get information about this behavior, okay? So if we're using this sort of checklist, that would be an indirect measure, okay? So this teacher reviews the learner's checklist when they were rating the level of attentiveness, so that would be an indirect measure, okay? So in this case, the teacher's not going in and observing the learner's behavior, so it can't be direct. And when we talk about permanent product, I just want to be clear on this question. A permanent product means is a result of it is a result from the behavior, right? So in this case, this had nothing to do with the behavior. The checklist is more so about the level of, they were saying here this, the rating, the level of attentiveness. So somebody was rating this level of attentiveness, whereas a permanent product, like I said, is directly associated with the behavior that's happening. Number 3, a researcher is timing the duration of a student's engagement in on-task behavior during a math activity in the classroom. Is the scenario direct, indirect, or product measure? And I'm really hoping that you guys are saying that it is a direct measure. What makes this question direct? Because we have that researcher who's going in and actually timing the duration, like we keep saying, in real time, right? So if they're going in, and don't let these, the wording fool you, right? So we can have researchers going in, behavior analysts going in. These scenarios might not even be related to clinics or classroom settings, right? As behavior analysts, we should be able to go in and observe behavior from anything and at any time or anywhere, right? So when we use words like the researcher, the behavior analyst, the teacher, the veterinarian, don't let that confuse you. Look at the scenarios as they are. Remember your definitions and you won't go wrong. Question 4. A researcher wants to conduct a study on how many cigarettes an individual can smoke within 1 hour. At the end of the 1 hour, the researcher goes into the room to count the number of cigarettes found in the ashtray. In this scenario, is this scenario an example of direct, indirect, or product measure? And I apologize, I did use this example earlier and may have given the answer away. But if you skipped that section and didn't hear me, the answer to this question is a permanent product. Okay, permanent product because they went in and counted the cigarettes after the behavior of smoking was done. Okay. 5, an occupational therapist counts the number of times a child successfully ties their shoelaces during a fine motor skills assessment. Fantastic. For those of us who said direct measure, you are absolutely correct. Again, we'll go through this. Okay. Ask yourself these questions along the way. Is the occupational therapist there in real time? Yes. And that's when you can then correlate it right back to a direct measure. When you look at indirect measures, you're looking at, is it through different means? Is it through, a rating scale? Is it through teachers' reports? If that's the case, it's indirect. If you're looking at a product from the behavior, you're then looking at a permanent product. 6, a behavior analyst uses a stopwatch to measure the latency between a teacher's instruction to a student and the initiation of the student's response. We would call that what? Perfect. So this one is a very clean example of direct. It is a direct measure. This behavior analyst is going in and observing this client and using the stopwatch and taking data, all within that observational period. 7, a BCBA is measuring how often a teenage boy takes a shower. She fills the soap container and returns after 1 week to see whether the soap container levels remain the same or went down. Is this scenario an example of a direct measure, indirect measure, or product measure? And I apologize as well. I am flip-flopping between permanent product versus product measure. Anytime you hear me saying that, they mean the same thing. So don't get those two mixed up. Okay, so for this question, is the BCBA going in and watching this teenage boy engage in the behavior of taking a shower? No, they're not doing that, and that would be highly inappropriate. So it is not a direct measure. Let's ask ourselves, is this BCBA is this BCBA asking parents how often this boy is taking a shower? No. In that case, we can eliminate indirect measure. Is this BCBA using some sort of measure, such as from the behavior or a product from that behavior, to measure how often, but whether or not this boy is taking a shower? Yes. In this case, we're looking at a permanent product because what did the BCBA do? The BCBA went in, filled the soap container, and is going to go back and look at the soap container to determine if the boy took a shower. Okay? Now, it won't tell us more than that. It won't tell us how often he took a shower, because he could have showered 5 times, he could have showered once and used a lot of soap. So it will just tell us whether he took a shower or not. 8. A school psychologist conducts interviews with teachers to gather information about a student's social interactions and peer relationships. Is this example direct, indirect, or product measure? We are looking at interviews, okay? So I'm going to actually leave the next few questions to you guys. So you guys let me know, would question number 8 be a direct measure, an indirect measure, or a product measure? And again, ask yourself those questions and let me know in the comments below. That actually leaves us at our last page. So I only gave you one question this time. I'm so sorry. I thought that I had made more than that, but I didn't. But that's okay. So let's go ahead and answer that question down below. If you do have any other questions, feel free to comment and I can answer those as well. For those of us who want extra kind of work, you can actually start thinking about your own scenarios and putting them in the comments with the same question. Is this an example of a direct measure, indirect measure, or product measure? And then you can also have other people responding to those as well. Okay? All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. I hope to see that you're all participating and answering this question. If you do have any additional questions, like I said before, feel free to reach out or comment down below. And I will be back with more of these videos, so I will see you at the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.